Hi everyone, my name's James and I work as a happiness engineer at WordPress.com. Today we're going to be talking about blogging. Let's get started. I've gone ahead and set up the basics of our blog just so we'll have some content to work with today. I've created this blog to share travel stories with friends and family. In today's session, I'll be walking through how to add content and then organize it to make it easy for visitors to find. The WordPress.com dashboard is a centralized place to create and control your content. The two main types of content on any site will be pages and posts. Pages are more permanent fixtures of your site and aren't affected by date. An About page and a Contact page are great examples of this. These are pages that we'd create once and then only update if the information would need to be altered. Posts, on the other hand, will display in the order that they're added to the site and can be grouped together into categories, which we'll talk about coming up. On this site, we'll be creating travel blog posts. But if this were a news site, we could use posts as news articles, or for a food site, recipes. All of the controls of your site are grouped together in the sidebar found on the left-hand side of your screen. If we click on the Pages link, it'll open up a list of all of the pages on our site. If we'd like to edit an existing page, we can simply click on the title, and that'll open up the page editor, where we can edit any of the details of this page. If we'd like to instead add a new page, we can click on the button on the right-hand side of our screen here, Add New Page, and that'll open up the Page Template Selector. This is going to be a really handy feature that will allow you to pick from a number of beautiful designs organized around common page types, such as Contact or About. If we'd click on one of these, it'll add all of this content to our page and is totally customizable. You can, of course, add a blank page as well by clicking on the Blank Page button. Let's move on now to adding a post. Very similar. We'll select the post link here, and that'll open up a page of all of our posts. You can see I've added a couple already, and if we'd want to edit these, we can simply click on the title. But let's add a new post to our site. The next destination I'd like to talk about on this site is Italy. So let's add that as the title of our post. We can now start to add some content to this post. But to do that, let's stop for a moment and talk about blocks. Blocks are components used in the WordPress block editor to add content to your site. Controls will appear dynamically based on what blocks we add, and we have lots of blocks to do a number of things on the page. So I'll walk through next how we can search to find which one you'll want to add. To just add text to our post, we don't actually need to select any block specifically. The default block is going to be a paragraph block, so we can just start typing. I've prepared a little bit of text, so you don't need to watch me fumble through typing this out. But you can see that when I've added in that text, controls have appeared above that block, and these are specific to the paragraph block. If I click here in the right-hand side where it says block, we can also see some more controls appear here. So for example, I can change the color of this text. I can give it a nice background color if I wanted to. And then with the controls above our paragraph block, we can change the alignment to make it centered. And we can even select specific words and make them bold or italic if we wanted to. We can add links to words or to this entire text, and we can even change specific things such as the text color of an individual word by clicking on this caret here. If I want to add another block now, I can just press Enter on my keyboard, and you can see now that I'm in a new block area here. There's two ways that you can add a block. You can click on this plus sign here, and that'll open up this selector where you can see a list of your most recently used blocks. So we could select the image block, for example, here. If you're just getting started though, I'd recommend using this plus sign in the upper left-hand corner. And what this does is it opens up a list of every block that's available. I like this because it allows you to explore a little bit more what blocks are available. So for example, if I just type in image, I'll get the image block, but I'll also see all of these other, galleries and slideshows and other options that are available. Let's add in an image, and you can see that now we have a selector that's appeared. I have an image already, so I'm just going to upload that to our site here. And you can see again that our right-hand sidebar has changed to reflect that we're on the image block. And our toolbar has also changed. So now we have some tools that are specific for the image block. I can, for example, make this wider if I wanted to. I could crop it. And I can also replace the image if I end up not liking that image. Let's say you don't have an image already and queued up on your computer. A really nice option that we have is this Pexels free photos. And what this is it's thousands of images that are all free for you to use on your site. So if I type in Italy, for example, I have all of these beautiful photos that I can just click on, click select, and add to my post or my page. And this is really nice because it allows you to get started really quickly in your blog. And by default, it'll show the person that took this photo. And you can, choose to leave or leave out that credit if you want to. So every block is going to have different controls. So for example, the paragraph one will have these controls, the image block will have these controls. If you're ever confused, I'd recommend checking out our support documentation. So for example, I'm on WordPresscom/support, and I'm just going to type in block, for example. And if I click on blocks here, this will open up a list of every block that we have available on WordPress.com. And what's nice about this is we go into pretty deep detail about every single option that's available with every block. So if you're ever confused and don't really understand, what a symbol means, check out our documentation at WordPress.com/support. And this is a really great resource to learn a little bit more about how to control different blocks. So now that we have a little bit of content on our site, let's see what else we need to add in before we publish this site to the web. Categories and tags allow us to organize post content to make it more searchable for readers. Categories are best used for broad groupings of topics. On our current site, I could group all of the country posts that we're making into a category called destinations. Tags, on the other hand, are best used to indicate specific topics that a post is about. So for example, within each destination, we may be talking about customs and planning and festivals, and all of these would be good candidates for tags. Let's see now how we can add in categories and tags to our posts and what functionality that adds in for our readers. To add in a category to a post, we can do that from the right-hand sidebar under the link called Categories. If I click to open that up, we can see that Uncategorized has already been selected. The reason for this is that every post in WordPress needs to have at least one category. So if no category has been selected for a post, it'll be added to a default category, and you can change that to be titled something other than uncategorized if you'd like. If we'd like to add a new category, as opposed to using one that's already been created, like food here, we'll want to click on the Add Category and type in our new category name. I'm going to type in Destinations, and click the Add New Category button. You can see now that it's been added, and we can check that because it has the check mark there. I'm going to uncheck Uncategorized because now it is categorized. And we can head down now to add tags. Very similar process. we'll just type in words here. So for example, I have festivals, and I'm going to need to press enter on there. And you can tell that it's been added as a tag if the background color has changed and now it's this sort of pill shape. There's a few more things I want to show you before we actually go ahead and publish this. So I'm going to save this draft. And now I'm going to head back to my site to show you a few other posts that I've added already and given the category food. So I've added these 3 posts here, and I've given them all with the same process, the category food. And if we head over to our site here, we can see that on our post page, we have another line of text here now that says categorized as food. And if I click on there, we're taken to an archive page that shows every post on our site that has the category food given to it. And we didn't need to go out and create this page. This is all automatic. So this is really nice because it allows users to your site to browse your site a bit more easily. Instead of just reading posts in chronological order, if they find a category that they like food, for example, they can just begin to browse all of the posts that are categorized with food. The same with tags. If we would add a tag to this post, that would show up here, tagged as culture, for example, and this tag archive page would also be created. These are real pages on your site, so if you wanted to add these as a menu item, that would also be possible. And I would recommend to have less categories and tags than more. We allow you to have up to 15 combined categories and tags, but if you just have tags that maybe just have one post in them, it doesn't really help anyone to navigate your site. So you'll want to think about big groupings on your site that will allow your users to find content easier. Themes and specific blocks will use the featured image throughout the site when displaying posts. This will also be the image that social media platforms will use when you share a post. We'll find the option to add a featured image to our post in the Featured Image tab in the right-hand sidebar. If we click that open, we can click on the Set Featured Image option, and again we'll have options to either use an image that's already in our media library, use Google Photos if we want to connect our Google Photos to our WordPress.com site, and also to use our free photo library. Let's select the media library here, and I have already uploaded an image here of Italy, so let's use that as our featured image. Again, let's save this draft and look at how the featured image is displayed with other posts on this theme. So I've already published a few posts, and these all have featured images already added to them. And if we look at our site here on theme 2021, the featured image is displayed quite prominently on the archive page here on the front page for each post. And then if we would click into each post, again, the featured image is going to be shown at the very top of the post. At WordPress.com, we have the option for you to automatically share posts on social media when you publish the post on your site. We currently support automatic publishing on Facebook pages, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Tumblr. To set up automatic publishing, we'll first need to connect those social media sites with WordPress.com. I'm back here on my main dashboard screen, and we're going to head to Tools and to Marketing. From there, we'll want to head over to the Connections tab, and you can see here our 4 sites that we can automatically publish to. I've already connected these 4 just to save time, but on your site it'll just have a button that says Connect, and you'll press the Connect button to connect these services. Now that we have these 4 connected, we'll head back over to our posts and to our draft that we've been creating, Italy, and open that up. And now we're ready to publish. We can press the Publish button now, and it'll give us a few checks that we can verify before we published anything. So right now we have selected to share this post, and we can customize our message if we would like to. We can, add a little bit more text here. Italy is amazing. And now when I publish this, it will go automatically to these 4 services as well as publish within our blog. So let's do that. I'm going to press the Publish button now. And we can see that our post is live. Let's click on the View Post. And now we'll be able to see the post on our actual live site. So that all looks good. Let's refresh our 4 social media platforms that we have here. And we can see that on Facebook, our post has automatically been published there. We can see Italy. We can also see it's been published to Twitter, to LinkedIn, and to our Tumblr. You can use the WordPresscom Reader to explore new sites and connect with other bloggers. Any post published on WordPress.com will appear in the Reader, and it's a convenient place to follow sites and to learn from other users. The WordPress.com Reader is a great resource to learn from other bloggers. On our dashboard, we can always find the Reader in the upper left-hand corner by clicking on the Reader tab. This will open up the Reader, and from here we'll be able to search for terms or phrases of things that we're interested in. So for example, this is a travel blog, so let's see what we can find from other bloggers that are writing about travel. So when I type in travel here, we can see a few things that appear. We'll have the name of a site that pops up, along with their most recent post. And we'll also see what tags they're using on their posts. So this is a really great way to see what other people are using for tags. For example, if I would click on the travel tag here, we can see every post on WordPress.com that's added the tag travel to it. So this is really nice for you to be able to check out a little bit more what other people are blogging about in sort of the same space that you're wanting to blog about. If we go back to our main page here, we can see that our most recent post, Italy, does have the festivals tag added to it. And so if anyone would click on festivals, for example, our post is going to be added there. So this is a really great way to, one, see what other people are writing about in the same sphere that you wanted to be writing about. And it's also a great way to connect with other people. So for example, if I find a blog here that I really like and I want to contact that author, I can do that. I can click on their blog, it'll bring me to their site, and I could potentially contact them in their contact form and see if maybe I could be a guest blogger, if they want to be a guest blogger on my site. And that's a really great way to build an audience. So the Reader is a really nice tool outside of social media for you to be able to learn and to grow your audience. Stats provide a great place to gain insight into who's visiting your site and what they're viewing. This also allows you to view trends and to see how users are accessing your site. Stats provide us with a lot of information about what's popular on our site and who's visiting. To navigate to that tab, we'll again be on our dashboard, and we can click on the Stats tab in the left-hand side. This will open up the Stats dashboard here. Mine's a little bit sparse because I just published this right now, but we can see a lot of really good information from here. Here we can see that I'm looking at the day view. If you've had a site for much longer, these other views will be more helpful. You'll be able to see trends over months or weeks or years even. If we look at just today, we can see what posts are being viewed. So 7 people have viewed my Portugal post here. We can also see where people are coming to my site from. So we can see that 5 people have come to my site from the WordPresscom Reader, and 1 person has come by clicking on the link in Twitter. We can also see what countries users are coming from. So we can see that a number of people are visiting my site from Japan and also some from the United States. If we head over to our Insights tab, this will give us a really good view once we've had our site for a little bit longer. So we can see our most popular time of the day when people are viewing our site. We can also see our most popular post ever, and we can also see a list of all of our followers. So this is a really nice way to, one, see what people are looking at on our site, and to also see what's popular and what's trending. If I'm writing about one sort of topic and people aren't really reading that a whole lot, maybe I can shift my focus on to another topic that people seem to be really enjoying. We're going to spend the rest of the webinar answering your questions, so please let us know in the Q&A option in Zoom how we can help you today.